Okay. I want to talk about my first year as a cadet. Um, we had this flag, American flag, and it ended up getting wrapped on top of the pole and ripping. And the I don't know how it just did. And people walked by it and walked by it and walked by it. Had a cadet come up to me, older cadet, come up to me and tell me about it. And I'm like, well, why didn't you take it down? And he's like, well, I don't have time. I got class. So instead of going to class, I decided just to skip that class period and go to the office. Told the office I'm going to go take care of it. They said, well, go out there and wait until the principal gets out there. And I said, okay. So I wait for him, and I'm taking the flag down when he gets out there. And he comes up, and we uh, uh, we get it down, and he ends up having to cut it to get it off. And there's a bit of cloth holding it on, and it's ripped real bad, right down the seam in the middle. And we end up getting it off, and he's like, well, he looks at me and he says, what do I do, And I said, well, you gotta get rid of it, you gotta dispose of it. He's like, well, I don't even know how to begin that process. And I said, well, I do. I'll take care of it. And I took it to the Legion, and I folded it up, and I put it in the return box, and they for damaged flags, and they took care of it, and they properly disposed of it. So, and after that, I just kind of noticed the flag wasn't at half staff, or little things like it wasn't being taken care of like it should have been. And so I decided to I went and I found the janitor who's in charge of it, and I told him about it. And I just said, well, you guys don't have any lights at all for that flag, and you leave it up all night, and you're not supposed to do that at all. And he's like, okay, well, since you know about this a little more than I do, would you want to take charge of that? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll be honored to take care of the flag. And I went ahead and I took down the Missouri flag one day. It's normal every day, and I'm in uniform because it was an inspection day, and I'm in my dress uniform. I'm taking the flag down, and these kids start yelling, and I don't pay them any attention. Take the Missouri one down, fold it up, hand it to my buddy, and I tell him, well, take that inside. Well, I'm taking down the American flag, and these kids start yelling and screaming at me, and they're yelling and stuff, and they're starting a ruckus real bad, and they go and they start screaming at me, yell puta, which at me a couple times, and I'm taking the American flag down. I get it down, and kid comes up and he's like, hey, I'll take that flag and I'll take it inside for you. And these kids are yelling at me, take down that flag, da da da. Let's put up this one. This guy got some Mexican flag in his bag. And it's starting to become a ruckus, and I'm trying to take care of the halyard and trying to keep them away from the poles. And this kid comes up, and he's Mexican American, and that didn't stop me at the beginning. And he was like, yeah, I'll take the flag for you. And these poles are on top of a podium, a concrete couple blocks, and I'm standing on it, and I said, okay, and I hand it to him and tell him, run inside and take it in there. Well, he turns the opposite way and starts to step off and run with it. And I reach down and I grab it just in time, and my buddy at the time shows up, hey, what's going on? I said, hey, take this, get to the office. They're getting ready to get crazy with it. And he ends up taking it in. He gets yelled at because it's not folded properly, and I go in there and explain to him what was happening, and end up posting the campus cop out there to keep stuff like that from happening, who was a former Marine, from what I've been told. So a couple days later after that, that was just my first encounter there. And second day, I'm wearing a shirt, dress shirt, button up, because it was kind of like a required thing. You dress formal one day, and it wasn't really a requirement. It was kind of like a requirement that wasn't a requirement, I guess you could say, and they wanted people to, like the cadets, to dress nice one day out of the week, and we did, and I did for sure, and these kids, some of the kids that were yelling, screaming at me, and ended up spitting on me. Yeah, they just spit right in my face, right on my shirt, and I turned the other cheek to it. Um, you know, looking back at it now, I should have just pummeled them. Probably should have just let loose, but I didn't. I took it, and it kind of breaks my heart. Thinking about Vietnam and Korea, and how more or less Vietnam, but Korean war vets weren't shown the gratitude that they should have been. I don't think any veterans were shown the respect that they should be all the time, and especially in Vietnam, those troops didn't come back to the welcoming they should have, and a lot of them were spit on. A lot of them were put through hell just because they got drafted or they volunteered to do their part, and me volunteering to do my part, it's crazy. That we can't just get along.